Today, what I'm going to do is, because I've gone through the same thing and it's probably worse with me than with you, most of you out there, because I'm a senior. So practically, I was imprisoned in my own home alone because nobody can join me because there were no transportation available at that time. And it took me some time, and even my internet was gone for 3 months. So you can just imagine what went through my mind at that time. So here's how I'm sharing with all of you out there. I decided that to really, truly adapt to the new normal, the new environment, we also need to reinvent ourselves to thrive amidst this crisis. Because I couldn't move around a lot. I had to do a lot more of exercising indoors because I was prevented from going outdoors.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that I have like Power Rider here and the ball. And these are things that we can easily do. So, and of course, finally, after 3 months, when my internet came back, I began contacting my friends from all over the world. You'll be surprised
Yeah.
how many friends I have. So that revived my zest for living, and in a manner of speaking, saved me from total depression.
I'll be discussing transitioning to the new normal through digital transformation. This is the experience of the Civil Service Institute, and as a as a learning and development institute during the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to cancel our face-to-face classroom training, and therefore we were forced to transition to digital online learning. And therefore, for this presentation, our objectives will be for you to learn to this, for you to be able to discuss CSI's mandate and initiatives, discuss CSI's pursuit of exponential growth through digital transformation, describe the 6 Ds of digital transformation, and discuss how the business model canvas can guide digital transformation.
The leadership development in the new normal. How can you enhance your leadership development programs when today it's not the way it used to be? So the question now is, given this scenario, is our current leadership development programs, the way we develop leaders, is still relevant? Or does it need some reboot or rebuild? Let's find out as I share to you some insights tonight. First, the fundamental goals of leadership development. Has it changed? Is the goal of leadership development different today than it was before the pandemic? I say, based on research, that they are actually the same. The fundamental goals of leadership development remains to be about driving performance and preparing for the future of the organization and of that individual. The only difference is that we are talking about a very different kind of future. And so it makes us think whether the kind of programs that we are giving our leaders today is the same kind of program that would make them really prepare for the future and drive the performance of the company towards that future.
it's the psychology and culture of leaders. So when I say that, does anything come to mind for you? Do you know? Before
Well,
we actually do begin.
oh, thank you so much for asking. When I do think about leadership and psychology, what comes to mind is the mindset. Oftentimes, without a proper mindset, leaders might either give up too soon or remain too stubborn. Because after all battles are won in the mind first before they're won anywhere else.
Yeah, actually, I super agree with that. And I think this is what sets the different leaders apart. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I can't change this, I can't change that. But when there's something that you can actually change, it's the culture and, of course, your psychology, right? So I'll be talking about it right now. And as you can see on screen, there are different pictures. So I'll be just talking about it based on my experiences. So where I have consulted, where I've given talks and worked for, whether it's Fortune 500 or it's the Ministry of National Defense of my country, which is Korea, and the United Nations, which I work for in the United Nations Arms Systems Commission, right? Like you mentioned. So yeah, and my background, just so everybody knows where I'm coming from, is from the humanities, right? So just to give you a quick background, I studied the humanities, then further studied military science, as well as studied behavioral science and organization development. So this was a mix of all these things. So what does this mean? You might say that these studies are very far from each other, right? But actually, it's really not, because humanities is there for me to understand the human beings, right? Military science is more of the build, or maybe even, I mean, as a joke, I always say destroy, right? And behavioral science is to really shape, also with organizations development. So it's to shape people. So it's all about people. And this is what we call company culture design, as you've mentioned.
Maximum performance in the midst of crisis. This is actually turning negative times into positive achievements. And my life can be summarized in a diamond. This is the capsule of my life. A diamond with 4 quadrants. One is my service to God, then my service to family, then to HR and law, and the last one is my legacy. Today, we will focus on my service in HR and law.
In this presentation of the 7 secrets to connect with anyone, our purpose in this is to help you establish authentic rapport with anyone, anytime, anywhere. And this is tried and proven. As Coughlin and O'Leary write in their book, Power of Persuasion, no single skill relates to management or leadership more strongly than the ability to communicate. In the tips that you're going to be learning in this episode, you can apply them to everything in your life. So the first question then, Nelson, is how are you connecting with 100% of your listeners? Well, this session helps to address that. So here are what are referred to as the 7 channels or the 7 listening groups or modalities. This is an overview of what we will take a deeper look at each one and have conversations regarding. So number 1 is linguistic. Number 2, mathematical. Number 3 is visual. Number 4, musical. Number 5, kinesthetic. Number 6, interpersonal. And number 7, intrapersonal. So we'll take a deeper look at each one of those. The research that I did on this over the past 30 years came from 2 PhDs, including Howard Gardner and Thomas Armstrong. Frames of Mind is one of the main sources of my research on this regarding the theory of what are referred to clinically as multiple intelligences.
We're going to be talking about integrity in organization. In my experience, integrity is what enables organizations to produce extraordinary results And a lack of integrity reduces effectiveness and productivity in the same way. So let me define integrity. This is right out of a US dictionary. Complete, unbroken, whole, entire, unimpaired is probably the definition that I like the best. Perfect condition and soundness. And of course, when people talk about integrity, they also bring in the whole idea of morality, being principled, upright, honest, and sincere. That definition, I'm not going to use at the beginning, but you'll see we're going to get to that as we go through this. So let's talk about integrity at three different aspects. First of all, and we're going to use a wheel as the example. So, for instance, if you're designing a wheel, you specify the materials you're going to be making the wheel out of and how it's to be put together and what the parts are. At the implementation level, you now have the construction of the wheel. So you put it together as designed with all the pieces. And I call that structural integrity. And then operational integrity is that the thing works as designed. It's easier to see what I'm talking about if you look at it from the other point of view, which is what happens when it's not done well. So for instance, designing a wheel that's not round is a flaw, is a lack of integrity given the purpose of a wheel. Structural integrity is missing if a part's missing. And operational integrity is missing if, for instance, one of the parts failed, doesn't operate as intended. So those are the three levels. And now what I'm going to do is apply this idea of the three aspects of integrity to organizations.
This educates about time for us to do something to really market Philippines, to make Philippines a business hub in Asia, recognizing our leaders. That's when the HCO Awards, para ma-recognize yung mga Filipinos. Kasi Filipinos are very quiet, humble. They don't like to talk. How good, diba? Kasi ayaw kong maging mayabang. You know, I don't like to talk about my successes kasi baka akala nila pinagyayabang ko sarili ko. But it's not. Kasi when we show our achievements, it means we care for others, for the future leaders to follow you as an example. So yun, kaya natatransform na yun, kaya nakakatuwa. So if you can see where Philippines then and now, ang laki ng pagbabago kasi Filipinos are happy. Na sana matutuloy natin yung ginagawa natin na ito. Kaya sana, Dino this is your job to really continuously recognizing you guys, the future leaders and the current leaders para at least madidiretso itong goal natin, hitting Philippines as a first world country on or before 2030. We have 9 years to go. Kaya natin, right? So guys, let's do it. What do we need? Education, trabaho. We figured good. Kasi kung nandito na-develop yung utak natin, maganda ang puso natin, it will happen. That's all we need, right?
If you see a flashback, even the last 250 years, you'll not find a lot of change. The change we are foreseeing, predicting in next 10 years time. You see, this is the incredible time is coming up, and in the video, in the slides, what you have been watching, it is all, is a digitalization. You see, skies, building, everything is digitalized. So when this is coming, we have to ready, and our young generation should also be ready for facing and working in this environment. I think this is the robot Sophia. Everybody knows about Sophia. So you know that she is able to answer questions related to 12,000 programs complete in her brain. And she's a machine. And the reason behind I am showing that this kind of robotic environment is also coming. Lot of human jobs will be replaced by the robots. In many international airports, this kind of robots are answering all the routine jobs. So this is the digitalization already we have in the world. You see the driverless car is not an uncommon issue. This is coming. So you see a lot of opportunities will be there, but you will be also witnessing a lot of unemployment problem with the drivers group. That is the issues is coming. You will find a lot of private jet. The millennials people, the millennium people, they will not be using, multimillionaire will not be using the passenger flights. They will have their own jet. So this is coming. And you see, these are the digitalization coming, and we should be able to work in this environment.
You see, your legacy is measured not simply by what you accomplish when you are in office, it is also measured by the impact you've had on the next generation or generations of leaders. I had been thinking, my legacy is measured by my success. That's only half of it. The other half is, have you set your successors up for success? Mike Chua, you are a business owner.
Yes.
And one of the things that I learned, when I had my own business, for 24 years, I had my own training and coaching business, is that I don't have a business if it ceases to function if I'm not around. I've got to set up processes and people so that even if I'm on vacation, my business is running smoothly.
Yes.
And it's the same way. Success, if you are just concerned only about yourself, okay, fine. But really, if you're concerned about the organization you're leading, set it up to succeed long after you are gone. That is what I call a legacy.
Swim with the sharks. Imagine a group of fish that consume the sharks without being eaten alive. Now, what guts do these fish have in order to coexist with the monsters of the sea? And after that, these tiny little creatures became the masters of the sea in both the blue and the red ocean. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what am I talking about? From a small corner drugstore, United Laboratories Incorporated became the #1 pharmaceutical company in our country today, with over 23% market share in a world dominated in the past by top multinational pharmaceuticals like Astra, Pfizer, Zwillig, and many others. Now our competitors are asking, what is the secret of Unilab that enabled this company to journey from good to great? Ladies and gentlemen, the secret or secrets can only be revealed when you are in the zone working with those heroes that made the impossible possible. I was lucky enough to be a part of this company in March of 1999. And because of that, I somewhat unraveled the 3 secrets. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know the secrets? Well, I think it's a big yes. Now, here are the 3 secrets. Number 1, the vision of our company. The vision of our owner, Jose Y. Campos. Number 2, the culture of Bayanihan. And number 3, our greatest asset, our people.
to be honest, I'm not thinking of all the other people at the start. I'm talking about service, and I'm doing this for a very selfish reason. It has always been in my thoughts that if my friends, my relatives are rich and successful, and they are not in need, they will not bother me so much, right, Dina? The people around me, if they are successful and they are not in need of resources, then I'll be at peace. That is why I believe that if I help the people around me, things will be better for me. That's why service for me is a selfish motive. Also, my passion for service is very personal. And the reason for this is very simple. I'm doing this for my son. I have a 15-year-old son, and I keep imagining the future that he will have, the society that he will live in. If I don't make society better for him and for the people around me, I will regret it. That is why in the past few months that we've been quarantined, I had so much time sitting in my balcony, putting my thoughts together. And finally, I had the opportunity to put everything down in this book, Ready to Serve. Okay. The Ready to Serve has this page, and I'd like to share with you this idea that when we want to help others, we must first equip ourselves. Because there are so many people that I know that want to help other people. They give money left and right. They try to put up foundations, and yet they do not see or they do not maximize their efforts and their resources. In helping, they do not see the results. Giving money sometimes, Dina, right? You just give money, you give it to the poor, but the next day you don't know what they did with the money. So I feel that the advocacy that I'm pushing is, before you actually go out to help others, prepare yourself first. Imagine a champagne glass tower, okay? You're the top glass. You need to fill yourself first. You need to equip yourself first. You need to make yourself better first so that you will be able to overflow to help the people around you, the next set of glasses, so that when they get filled, they can look up to you and then they can continue overflowing and helping others as well. That is the concept. Let's not just keep giving left and right, hits and misses, but let's give in a systematic way.
Okay, so good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year to everybody. So this is going to be a special edition, a special New Year's edition of the Leader's Edge. By the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Boom San Agustin. I'm a sales management consultant, and pwedeng magyabang ng konti, I'm in the top 100 Filipinos to follow on LinkedIn. Okay, then. Enough applause. Thank you very much. So if you're just joining us, this is the Leader's Edge, and this is season 3 of the Leader's Edge, and we're going to be talking about the pandemic. We're going to be talking about the future. We're going to be talking about everything else. Why? Because reality is just around the corner. Malapit na po ang Monday. Monday's coming and we're going back to the corporate battlefield, and many of us don't know what to expect. Okay? We don't know what to expect from that return to work. We don't know if good things will happen. We don't know if we actually took away 2020? We don't know, right? So we're going to talk about it tonight.